Hello everyone, my name is Richie and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing another one of these discussion type videos about the upcoming Suffragette Line, Gospel Oak to Barking Riverside. Now this will be very similar to that Barnstrecker-Rosenheim-Salzburg video I did a couple of weeks ago, where I talk about the upcoming route, what we can expect, talk a little bit about the Loco, about the route, the layers, the timetable, all that sort of good stuff. The last time I did a video in this sort of style, it did really well actually. A lot of you seem to enjoy it, so I'm going to do it again for this route, a route that I'm most likely going to be getting. When I did the Barnstrecker-Rosenheim-Salzburg one, I was still on the fence, so hopefully this one is a better route and it's one I'm definitely going to get on day one. So yeah, let's discuss the upcoming Gospel Oak to Barking Riverside line, or also known as the Suffragette Line. So what do we already know? We know all sorts of information. We've even got a first look video which I'll come on to discuss. So I'm recording this the day after the March roadmap and we've got loads of information there, and we also got a release date on Monday just gone. So we know quite a bit of information. So this is what we got provided in the Dovetail Direct, but we've got loads more information since then. So we're getting the Class 710 Aventura. It's a 13-mile long route. It's got 13 stations and it's an officially licensed TfL product. So yeah, here's my breakdown of what we already know. We're getting the Class 710-2 Aventura, which is a relatively new train in the UK, which will be nice to see. The route length is 13 miles and we also get 13 stations. The line's going to be called the Suffragette Line in light of the recent change to the Overground lines, which TfL announced in February. We've got loads of information on the layers, including the East Coast Main Line AI, and we've got information about the rail tours. We've got some information about the route collectibles, we've got some standard route maps, and I believe there was some mention of little goblin characters dotted around the map, so that'll be cool to see. The release date is the 19th of March, which is 2 weeks from the day I'm recording this, and I'm thinking of getting this out on the following Friday, so a week and a bit to go. And the price, as I've predicted many times, is going to be $24.99, which is actually cheaper than standard route price, which is I'm glad about that, to be fair, because for 13 miles worth of route, asking 30 quid's a little bit cheeky, so I'm happy that it's a cheaper route. So here's a route map that they provided in the latest roadmap, and I think the background image is Gospel Oak. So yeah, we've got 13 stations and we cross quite a few main lines, one of which is the East Coast Main Line. So we start over here at Gospel Oak in the west. We go along the route, we go through Tottenham, through Leytonstone, all them sorts of little suburbs. And then we end up here in Barking Riverside, number 13. I believe this is Barking here, so this is quite a major station. This is a relatively new station close to the River Thames. So it's a fair route. I know it's only 13 miles, but it's it's going to be quite compact, very busy, and as we come on to the timetable, we can expect quite a high frequency of trains. So we're not going to see nothing for 13 miles. We're going to see quite a lot in that 13 miles. And as previously mentioned, there is a first look video which I will link in the description, which shows you a little bit of the rolling stock, little bits of the route scenery, all that sort of stuff. So we know quite a lot at this point. So yeah, check out that video, that's in the description. So let's talk a little bit about the included Loco, which is the Class 710-2. Here is a picture that they provided in the roadmap with my fancy little design on this PowerPoint. Oh yeah, if you didn't realise, by the way, this is a PowerPoint presentation. So yeah, the Loco looks very nice. It looks nice and modern, very sleek. Reminds me a little bit of the 442, the German BR 442. Got another little picture there. I'm not too sure what station this is at because I think I have cut it out on this little design, but it's in the snow. I mean, the snow on the buffers is a little bit questionable, but you have got to take into consideration that this is a work in progress, so that could change. Not that I'd care to do runs in the snow. I tend to do them just like clouds in the middle of spring. So yeah, a little bit of a breakdown on the 710 Aventura. So they're relatively new trains that were introduced in 2019. They're a single handle EMU, which a lot of people don't seem to care for, and some people absolutely love. I'm I'm indifferent. I like them and I don't dislike them. I'm guessing this will have a similar sort of driving experience to that of the 700 that we recently got. I think it's got the same sort of announcement when you enable safety systems. So that's going to be all very similar, all very modern, screens, all that sort of jazz. So these 710s, they did replace the class 378s. I'm hoping it's the 378 and not the 387. Them confuse me because they're all Electro Stars. But from what I saw and what I remember, it's the class 378s and also the 172s, I believe. If I'm wrong, do let me know. The 710s were built by Bombardier and they were built at their Derby Litchurch Lane works. So the interior of these trains are fully TfL licensed. We've got the PIS, which shows the different London Underground lines. I do have a little screenshot of that in the next slide. And I believe the advertisement boards along the edge of the train all work, which will be quite cool to see if there's some little interesting little advertisements and Easter eggs and stuff like that. So yeah, here's a screenshot of the interior. So you can see that up in here we've got all the London Underground lines saying that they're in good service. I wonder if these will change depending on what time of day it is. It'd be good if we got to rush hour and they said things like, very busy or whatever. I don't know what they actually say in reality because I've never been on the London Underground or Overground. And these are them screens that I was on about that work, and they changed because I think in the first look video they changed. So I think they'll show some advertisements and then some information about the Overground and stuff, which will be quite neat to see. So on to the timetable. So I did a little bit of research into the timetable and found an actual up-to-date timetable. We've got a nice little route map here as well, provided by TfL. So I'm guessing that PIS will actually say, change here for the Piccadilly line and stuff like that. Hopefully. You never know. So these are some screenshots of the actual timetable, which you can get a PDF of. If I can link it in the description, I will. But you can see this is all the towards Barking Riverside, and there's 4 trains an hour doing all stops all day. So with 4 trains an hour in each direction, and they're pretty much all stoppers, we can imagine quite a intense service frequency. And there you go, that's it continued. So they actually run from 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight pretty much. So we've got 18 hours worth of running in the timetable. So yep, we got 4 trains per hour in each direction. And according to the announcement article, where they announced the release date and whatever, they did say that the Class 710 itself has 154 services. I don't know whether this will include depot moves and whatever, or whether that's just the core, end-to-end runs. It's also been mentioned that we're getting freight and RHTT services. We're getting some rail tours, diesel and steam. And we've got East Coast Mainline AI, which will consist of the 700, the 801, and for some reason not the 1938 stock. I'm not too sure why the 1938 stock is there, but hey, I'm not whinging. So I'm reckoning that we can expect a total service count of around 200 to 250, more towards the 200 sort of range, with the the freight services and the rail tours. It could be 190 something, we'll see, but I'm reckoning around that sort of ballpark. Now on to the layers that we can expect. Here's a screenshot that they provided in the roadmap where you can clearly see an 801 and a 700 on the East Coast Main Line, which will be quite cool. If we can do some train spotting from a bridge and have a look at these all day, that'll be quite a good bit of fun. I also cheekily got some screenshots from the first look video, and I spotted a Gatwick Express 387. Which obviously will be AI. I'm guessing it's static stock in a yard somewhere, which will be quite cool. And obviously we've got the Class 66 there as well, and we've also got what looks to be a Jubilee, I think. But yeah, we've got steam rail tours and we've got some diesel rail tours, but I don't think we've had any footage of them yet. So we could get a couple of them. I'm not expecting we'll have many, maybe 2 or 3 each. So yeah, here's my breakdown of playable and AI layers. We're going to be having the Class 66 playable RHTT, Jubilee and the BR diesels. I'm hoping that they layer in the Class 33 because they have mentioned before that they want to include the Class 33 in more places. It'd be good if they did a diesel rail tour using maybe a 150 or something, just for the fun of it. And as for AI, we've got the 700 and the 801 on the East Coast Main Line. Like I just said, that 387 in a yard somewhere. and the 1938 stock. So you know, a fair few layers for such a short route. And of course, let's talk about the potential DLC for this route. So the caveat I'll throw out here is, if I think a route could have a potential DLC, I will mention it. In this case, I'm going to say that if they did release a DLC for this route, which I don't think they're going to, but if they did, we'd see one of these, the Class 378. It makes sense. It's another very common London Overground unit, similar to the other Electro Stars we've got in the game. I think they'd either do it as a standalone DLC if they did it, or they might do something similar to what they're doing with Metrolink and do another London Overground route in like 6 months or a year's time, and use this Loco instead, and then it can layer onto each other. But I think it's sort of quite far-fetched. I don't think they would do a standalone DLC for this route, but if they did, it'll be this. On the topic of DLC, one thing I should have mentioned in the layers section is that these 710s won't be layering onto Bakerloo Line, which is a shame, but we might be able to see that in the future. So that's one thing I just wanted to throw out there. And the final section of this video is the route features. What can we expect to see along the route? What does the route offer? How is it unique? All that jazz. So the route is an end-to-end route. We're going to see a lot of urban scenery, you know, with it being in, I believe, in North London. So we're going to see a lot of, you know, buildings, and we'll see sort of houses, flats, all that sort of stuff. It crosses over and under different main lines, obviously the key one being the East Coast main line. I'm not too sure which other main lines it crosses. I've not researched that far into it, but I'm sure you'll all know what main lines go across this route. We've got a relatively brand new station in Barking Riverside, which I think only opened in 2022. I did spot some glimpses of the River Thames, so depending on how far the draw distance is, we might see some nice shots of the River Thames. As I said, it's fully licensed by TfL, so there's tons of TfL signage, there's posters, there's station plaques, you know, it's all fully licensed, which is nice to see. And the last key feature that I spotted was there's working lifts, which we all seem to like in trainsimworld, so yeah, that'll be cool to see some working lifts. I personally don't like lifts, they scare me. So yeah, on to my final thoughts. Before I go into them, are you looking forward to this route? Are you thinking of getting it? I think it's going to be a relatively popular route, you know. A lot of people it's created a lot of buzz amongst the community. So are you planning on getting this route? I'm certainly going to be getting the route. I'm going to be getting it on day one and doing a first look at it the day after it comes out. So yeah, as for my final thoughts, I'm quite looking forward to it. I know it's not the same, but it's very similar to Bakerloo Line, and I like that. I quite enjoyed that route. I'm quite a fan of these sort of commuter routes anyway. You know, end-to-end runs, you can get in one side, change ends at the other end, go back, and you know, you could pretty much spend all day going back and forth, which I really like. It reminds me a little bit of Glossop Line. Obviously you don't have the split up services, but it reminds me of that sort of vibe, which I really quite enjoy. It's my sort of thing. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's certainly my thing. So I'm going to be getting it day one because it's a bit on the cheaper side and it's exactly what I enjoy in a route. But yeah, what do you all think? Are you going to be getting it? If you are, let me know. So yeah, that is what we can expect from the upcoming Suffragette Line, the Gospel Oak to Barking Riverside line. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty much a day one purchase for me. So yeah, I hope this video has been quite informative and, you know, it's built up some hype for you, or maybe, you know, helped you decide what you're doing with the route. You know, there's a fair lot to offer for the price. You know, I know that the route mileage isn't massive, but you know, we're getting all sorts of other AI layers and a different sort of experience in a way. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite a good route. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video and listening to me ramble for the last 15 minutes or so. I really appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. I'd really appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.